Hello, I'm John Harney, the executive editor of the New England Journal of Higher Education, which is the journal of the New England Board of Higher Education, or NEBHE. Today, I have the pleasure of introducing four NEBHE colleagues who represent, in a sense, the future of our regional organization. They are most recently Jonathan Gowan, who began as director of NEBHE's Tuition Break in April 2022, and Katie Singer, who began as NEBHE's Director of Policy and Research in May 2022. And a bit further back, NEBHE's Director of Finance and Administration, Michelle Pelletier, who joined NEBHE in July 2021, and Jared Abdurkin, who began as NEBHE's Director of State Authorization Reciprocity Agreements, or SARA, in August 2021. For starters, tell me a bit about your professional journey. Why did you pursue this opportunity at NEBHE? And how are your past professional experiences informing your work?
I can kick us off there, John. This is Jonathan Gowan speaking, director of the Tuition Break program. And my journey to NEBHE really goes back to my undergraduate experience at my alma mater of Lycoming College in Pennsylvania. I spent my first 2 years at my alma mater trying to find the quote unquote right major that I wanted to study. But in that time, I really found my love in higher education itself. I was so enamored that I decided to pursue every leadership opportunity I could at my undergraduate experience, working in various offices around campus. And I really, as a first generation rural student myself, I never really imagined that I would quite find a home in higher ed, nor that I would necessarily seek that out as a professional career. But find it I did, and I chased that into graduate school, getting my master's in educational leadership, also in Pennsylvania. And that effort actually led to a very formative internship experience I had with a President Sue Stubner here in New England at Colby Sawyer College up in New Hampshire. And it was actually in that experience that I discovered enrollment management, which really became sort of the guiding light for my higher education career and led me to working several years in the world of college admissions and enrollment.
Thank you, John, again for having us. So a little bit different from what Jonathan's experience was. I actually started in geology in my beginning of my career. But I would say my entire career has kind of focused on the intersection of data and strategy. So while I started in geology studying lunar and terrestrial volcanoes, I then went to the University of Tennessee, where I became really passionate about kind of bringing connections together and groups together to solve some bigger challenges. And that started to get more and more in the area of student success. So I ended up I earned my doctorate in higher education administration in Tennessee. And from there, it's kind of history. I have been working in institutional effectiveness, strategic planning and higher education at the state level until I recently joined here at NEBHE, which one of the reasons I joined is really to start expanding that experience from the state level to a more regional impact and hopefully kind of solve some of these grand challenges that we all face in higher education. So that's a little bit about my background.
Thanks, Katie and John. So my background is different from both of yours. I started working in high school for a small family business doing their bookkeeping and enjoyed that. So I started taking classes at North Shore Community College upon high school graduation, and eventually transferred to Northeastern University, where I obtained my bachelor's in accounting. And from there, I worked for 20 years for a marketing firm. And when they started, the owner started downsizing for retirement, I found a small nonprofit organization and enjoyed working for nonprofits. And I was there for 3 years and then found NEBHE. And the idea of helping students pursue college education after going through and starting through community college appealed to me.
And thanks again, folks. And, I find my experiences, especially similar in some different ways to my colleagues. I did not know what I wanted to do or where I wanted to go when I went off to college. I grew up in New York, but came up to the great state of Rhode Island, to the University of Rhode Island, and discovered my passion, not just for education, but also the field of education and supporting students and supporting my peers, and discovered I could make a career out of that. I pursued my graduate degree in that area, and actually started my professional career out west in California in a community college. Came back east for family reasons, and have mainly focused in academic affairs. Returned to the University of Rhode Island, where prior to coming to NEBHE, I spent just about 8 years, especially focused with undergraduate students in engineering. I was able to become the assistant dean in engineering, and really focus on opportunities and access and resources and support for undergraduate students, and especially became passionate about public higher education in particular. Especially as we were living through the pandemic. And, I think maybe as we all thought about, what kind of broader impact can we make, and what kind of legacy are we going to leave, and, and what is the kind of greater purpose and meaning behind our work. When I found NEBHE and I found the opportunity to work in state authorization reciprocity agreements, generally supporting access and opportunities for institutions, but especially for students to engage and enroll across the country in institutions, and make that process relatively seamless. And it's really been an exciting opportunity to do so. I think it matches well with my career themes and goals, and really excited to be here, especially with this really dynamic team that we have today.
Thank you. What is your vision for your department, each of you, and for NEBHE in the general sense as you look forward?
So thinking about the department that is the regional student program, I'm really excited for the future myself. Drawing on my experience in admissions and enrollment management, I'm really excited to take the regional student program into the future and really think about how can this amazing access opportunity that it provides to the students of New England also be used as a key enrollment management tool for leaders at various institutions around New England. And that's the really exciting thing that I am really looking forward to working closely with folks around. And as I think about my own journey, one of the reasons I was so drawn to come to NEBHE is the fact that we as an organization and our board and our leadership, we recognize how critical an issue enrollment is in New England. And so, as we move forward, I'm really excited to both increase the visibility and relevance of the RSP to students here, residents of New England, as well as our institutions, but also look broadly at the breadth of New England's institutions and determine how can we be a partner both in thought and action to enrollment officers to support enrollment at those institutions, be they 4-year, 2-year publics, be they independent institutions. We really want to support all of them in whatever ways that we can. So really developing those partnerships and those deep relationships to chew on the problems and issues that we as a whole, as New England, are facing.
Pretty similar to what Jonathan's describing for our department, in the sense of, since I am new to the New England region, one of the things that I'm going to be doing is hopefully learning a lot more and talking with stakeholders and connecting with them over the next year. But for an overall vision of where PNR is going to be going, I really want to focus on providing timely and meaningful information for our stakeholders and constituents, relevant research that they can use, and then also other resources that are needed across the region, bringing together groups to kind of solve these greater challenges. And through that, I really just want to help support those grand challenges and to solve them, because I think if we bring each other together, if we all come together, we're more likely to be able to attack those. Enrollment is obviously one of them, as many others are. In addition to that, to kind of streamline and modernize some of our data and research infrastructure so that we can provide that information more just in time or on demand than we had in the past. We're also going to be doing a strategic planning through the organization-wide as well as within the policy and research team. So I'm excited to see what kind of themes that we'll come out with in the next 6 months to 8 months to see what we're going to focus on specifically in the next 3 to 5 years. And hopefully anyone who's watching, they can tell us a little bit of some of those issues that they want us to incorporate into building out a new research agenda. So that's one of the items that we're working for.
Thanks. And similar to, everyone, for the finance department, I'm looking at updating and automating some processes and systems to help us assist moving forward with some of the grants that we have and initiatives that we want to have to make it easier for folks to move forward and have the information that they need more quickly. And with technology that changes so quickly, there's a lot that we can do to update systems.
And thanks, and I really like this question, and I think this really fits in, with where I've tried to be, especially in the first year of the role, is getting a solid understanding of where we're at, especially with a system like SARA, which is regionally centered, but is also across the United States as well. So I think firstly, having a full grasp and understanding of the issues and problems and challenges, and especially the leaders, but also trying to make that work and interconnected with a broader network. And I think SARA is unique, but also exciting for that reason. So I'm really excited to now, with this years of experience behind me, go into the year 2 to broaden our connections to really, I think, dive deeper into how we can support the states and their individual institutions. We started to do a bit of that last year, working with institutions in Massachusetts and Connecticut, holding programs for them for continuing education purposes. And I think we can continue to do that. I think as we are now what I would call in a phase of living in the pandemic, or living, with it, I think trying to get back into person in some cases, making connections, even though this is an online and distance-based program. I think trying to connect leaders together, institution leaders together, and considering what kind of developments and continued considerations for the success and enhancement of online and distance education, which is inevitably the future. And I think there's a lot of overlap with all of my colleagues here. I look forward to working with our RSP folks on how we can articulate where there are needs for perhaps various workforce in New England, and because of SARA, because of participation easily to access institutions across state lines, we can help fill those needs, to work with policy and research on related topics as well. How can we support the success and enhancement of higher education opportunities, enrollment issues in our region especially? And I think online and distance education can do that. And partnering with internal folks like Michelle, how do we organize programs? How do we best enhance them? What funding do we have to be able to do some of these initiatives? So again, I think I've got a solid understanding now of where we are, and really, again, look forward to working with this team, its various talents and focuses to move into the future as well.
Is there anything else any of you would add before we sign off?
I think I have one thing. I think one of the items that Jared touched on was, I think, a place where we can all kind of integrate our work. I think especially on the research side and how we can support. I think that's going to be an exciting new thing that we're going to be doing in the next year, making sure that we all work collaboratively. And that's one of the things that actually brought me to NEBHE, was that collaboration. I felt that throughout the whole entire interview process. And I'm also excited to travel around New England and get to know all of the folks that are here watching us today, and to learn more about what you need and how we can help you.
And I guess I'd add a little shameless plug that you're all welcome to contribute to NEBHE if you have thoughtful commentary to share with our people in the region and beyond. Thanks for your time, and good luck with NEBHE, and good luck to NEBHE. Thank you.